Okay, so there is no minus 1.5. That's the point. It's +1, +2, +3, and +4. That other stuff is stupid. There's no 0.5. There's no 38-72 matchups or 38-62s. None. No. This is the real stuff. This is the stuff that people are too scared to say in this community, because if you ever say a matchup is worse than +or-2, they go, actually, Lomac has a lot of good options in this matchup, and I really don't think you understand how strong that character is. You're severely underrated. That. I'm done. You're confused by the two -1s because there are different levels of -1. Because a 45-55 is a -1, but it's a really easy -1. So, it's very doable. So, let us get started. I'm just going to go in alphabetical order. BanjoKazooie. What did I just do? No, why did it change all my colors back? What the f***? I'm mad. Give me a sec. So, we're going to go in alphabetical order. This is my real friendo opinion. First person, BanjoKazooie. Easily 65-35. Super easy. I think this matchup is very, very Pikachu favor. Literally, if you just ignore, if you know how to play around grenades and you understand his edge guarding flowcharts and how he gets off of the ledge, you will be fine. Just shield at the ledge. They're going to drop down, reverse down B, and then you just run off in neutral air drag down them, or you just wait for them to do anything to grab the ledge. It's really easy. Pikachu kills easier. Pikachu edge guards. The only difficult thing about this matchup is the fact that Banjo can two-frame Pikachu, which isn't that big of a deal because Pikachu has so many ways to mix up his timings to the point where Pikachu shouldn't really be getting ledge trapped that much, or at least like two-frame. Ledge trapping is a little different, but also, again, you have quick attack, and assuming you're on any stage with a platform, all you have to do is jump back and quick attack, and Banjo's not fast enough to really get to you because his dash speed isn't that great. His run speed is really good, but his dash speed is not, so that's important. Bayonetta, this matchup really sucks. This matchup sucks because a lot of Bayo's aggression comes from afterburner kick in the air. Pikachu is short and I don't have to jump, so why would I ever get hit by ABK? You have to play a ground game versus Pikachu, as the majority of characters in this game, especially as Bayonetta, who doesn't have great aerial tools, because like if you have something like, let's say, short hop back air that's really good, or like a nair that's really good, then like fine, you can kind of jump in the air against Pikachu, but Bayo doesn't really have those, so you're just gonna die. You're actually just going to die. You get out-killed, you get out-camped, you get out-edge-guarded, you get out everything in this matchup. It's not 90-10 or +4 because Bayo still kills you and like you have witch time that you have to respect, and you still take a lot of damage from getting comboed, but also Pikachu is small, so you don't really get comboed anyway if you know the SDI flowcharts, which granted that changes depending on the combo and everything like that, but Pikachu is small, so you fall out of stuff way more than you're supposed to. Like, way more. This matchup is super easy. Like, Lima will destroy his region, and then I will go there and 3-stock him. And granted, I'm better than Lima, but Lima is arguably the best Bayonetta in the entire world, and if I'm able to easily 3-stock him, even though he's an amazing player, because Lima is an amazing player, that matchup sucks. Bowser. This matchup is somewhere between 65-35 and 70-30. I will probably order the tiers at the end of this matchup chart, but this matchup sucks. Like, Pikachu hits him and he just dies. Like, you edge trap him, you combo him, you edge guard him, you juggle him. Like, it's all so easy for Pico. Literally, all you have to worry about is up B, but you can just go Thunder Jolt, run at him, wait, and then he will probably up B or do a defensive option or like a fair at a shield or something, which isn't exactly fast, so you just kill him. Like, you actually just punish everything he does. You edge trap him, you edge guard him. It's so hard for Bowser to get back to neutral. This matchup is omega free. Like, it's so easy. Like, it's if you just have a good advantage state as Pika and you understand up air and you understand just not having to go for the optimal call because it's going to put you in a worse position, a worse advantage state, and just go into a normal advantage state, just hit him up, go down throw, up air, up air. Don't have to forward air, don't have to back air, just up air him, put him above you. He's going to down air, he's going to down B, he's going to forward air, he's going to do something to land, and you punish it and you just kill him. It doesn't matter that he can down smash you, it doesn't matter that he can up smash you. This matchup sucks. Bowser Jr. So this matchup's actually not as hard or not as easy as you think it would be, but it's still pretty bad. So I think that Bowser Jr. definitely does lose 6-4 because if Pikachu just decides to spam Thunder Jolt, Bowser Jr. can't really do anything about it because he's not fast enough. Granted, he has side B, and of course his jump speed is, or his run speed isn't awful. Like, it's not great, but it's not awful. He has his amazing aerials, forward air, back air, things like that. But you just die to so much random stuff. Like, if Pikachu goes off stage versus Bowser Jr., they like have to air dodge, because otherwise you're going to do drag down nair, miss the final hit, doesn't put you into tumble, you die at 0. Thunder Jolt. Bowser Jr. randomly dies to just like getting hit out of tumble, and not putting him into tumble, which happens a lot because you have back air, you have neutral air, you have forward air, you have Thunder Jolt. Thunder Jolt's going to be a big one because you can throw it out, and if he tries to like recover under the stage, he actually just gets hit by Thunder Jolt or has to air dodge, in which case you can do like short hop, fair, fast fall, and then miss the final hit, and he just dies anyway. It is so not difficult to edgeguard this character if you really know what you're doing against this character, which granted, not a lot of people do, so I understand I'm speaking from a position of expertise, but also you have to assume in these matchups that you know what you're doing and that you're like not struggling to understand the options against this character, because if that's the case, then you're going to lose, because like if you don't understand matchups, it doesn't matter how favorable it is for you unless it's like really, really obvious. So you have to know what you're doing in these matchups. So if you know how Bowser Jr. works, you know how the neutral interactions work, you know how the super armor on a side B works, you know that you can punish landing forward air and landing back air and a bunch of different moves that he has, like this matchup definitely is Pikachu favor. It's not super terrible in my opinion, but it's not great. Alright, let's go continuing Byleth. I'm going to say 65-35 just because the swing factor of dying to forward smash 2-frame is a real issue, and if you like overcommit super stupidly, you will get hit by this character. But I think this character does not do well versus Pikachu. Byleth really struggles with really heavy pressure characters because nothing I do on shield is going to be punishable by this character unless I do like landing back air or something, or landing fair or something like that. But there's no reason for me not to do back air that's rising, or honestly this is probably more a forward air matchup because forward air is -6 and you literally cannot get punished by Byleth. So Thunder Jolt plus forward air is going to be the entire matchup. Pikachu is one of the best, if not the best character at edgeguarding tethers. It is a really, really easy thing for Pikachu to do because you have a bunch of lingering aerials in forward air, neutral air, and back air, as well as Thunder Jolt. This character gets edgeguard, and you can protect yourself from things like early up Bs because of Thunder Jolt, which is a huge deal. I do not think Byleth is fast enough, nor does Byleth have the versatility in terms of the aerials that will really stuff Pikachu out like other sword characters do. Granted, I don't think Pikachu loses to any other sword characters, which I will get into later, but I do think that Pikachu handily beats Byleth. I do not think it is super close. Granted, I've never played Leo, I've never played Pink Fresh, but just like on paper, this matchup seems like it sucks. And if I lose because of it, it's because I don't know what the hell I'm doing in the matchup, because this character's still new and I get hit by a forward smash and I'm like, oh god, or did I the side be wrong, or did I up be wrong because I'm not paying attention, which isn't the matchup, it's just me being bad. Next up, we have a contentious one in Olimar. So I'm going to put this in even, because I don't have any like in-betweens, but I do think this matchup is either even or +1 Pikachu. I do think that Olimar struggles really heavily with Pikachu just outright camping, just Thunder Jolt, Thunder Jolt, Thunder Jolt. Oh, you randomly jumped side, or rather, quick attack into landing. Like landing Olimar, quick attacking into him is going to lead to a huge combo. You have the mix-up of air dodge or a whistle, which honestly both lose to wait, like hold shield, wait, back air or something like that. And if Olimar jumps, then he has no jump and he's above Pikachu, which if you hit him again after that, he's going to be put off stage and probably die because of it, or at least take a bunch of damage. I think Olimar has a lot of good tools against Pikachu because I think Purple obviously is amazing. Yellow is a really good Pikmin. So in this matchup in particular, Olimar has 3 really important Pikmin in terms of blue because of kill throws, purple because it's purple, and then yellow because it has more range, but also it nullifies my electric attacks, so I cannot Thunder Jolt them, I cannot do down smash on them, I can't forward smash them. There's a bunch of good stuff for yellows in this matchup, and of course you still do have to worry about white because of the damage it does from side B, and the forward smash of like red or the up smash of red are still really powerful, and back air and things like that. So you do have to be careful, but I do think that Pikachu still handily has a lot of tools in this matchup. I do think it is potentially 55-45 in Pikachu's favor, but DeBuzz kind of like on my life last time, so he destroyed me. So maybe this matchup's even. He studied my habits. He really hit me for a lot of habits, but I don't think that's Olimar hitting Pikachu. I think that is DeBuzz hitting ESAM, which is a very, very different thing, because DeBuzz is a better player than me, and I will not deny that. So he just read the hell out of me, and he destroyed my life. Granted, I should have won game 1 of our set because I messed up down throw nair down smash, but that's beside the point. I'm not sure why Olimar is so early, to be honest, because it's like, B's and then O and then C. I don't understand. It was just there. Because the people before that, the people lower, like the second row was Hero and then Link. So like clearly, I don't know. Oh, Captain Olimar. That's why he's so early. Thank you, Chad. I appreciate it. But yeah, this matchup has a lot of nuance to it, and I don't understand it as much as I want to. But yeah, Dabuz just like bodied my habits, which I don't think is an Olimar versus Pikachu thing. I do think that is a Dabuz versus ESAM thing, and he's been known to do that. So I do think potentially Pikachu wins this matchup, but I'm uncomfortable saying that given the fact that I got like double 3-stocked or like 1-stock, 2-stock, 3-stocked by Dabuz. So I'm just going to put it at even. Yeah, Captain Falcon. This matchup sucks. Pikachu's really short, which Captain Falcon doesn't like. Pikachu has really good combos, which Captain Falcon doesn't like. Pikachu's light, which Captain Falcon doesn't like. Pikachu can't get edge guarded by Falcon, which Captain Falcon doesn't like. And he just gets bodied. He literally just loses. Like, every single aspect of this game except for weight, Pikachu wins, but at the same time, you don't really care about the weight because you get down air spikes and you get edge guards ad nauseum. So it doesn't really matter that Falcon has anything in this matchup because Pikachu just wins in every aspect. Except for maybe speed, but also Falcon's bad dash back is going to hinder his speed in that instance, which is a big deal. I don't think it's +4 because Falcon still does a ton of damage. It can kill you really easily, or like landing near knee, things like that. But it's really bad. So, the next matchup is going to be Cloud. I think this matchup is very, very easy. Not because Cloud is bad, and I do think the buffs do matter, but at the same time, if Pikachu wants to play careful when he's at death percent, Cloud literally cannot kill him, because everything that Cloud does is slow enough to the point where you just like hold shield because his grab doesn't matter, and you're not really going to get edge trapped that much by Cloud. Maybe limit Cloud sometimes, but he still has to make a read because if Cloud ever gets limit, you just jump out, you like go to the corner, shoot Thunder Jolts till Cloud gets close to you, then you go like jump off stage, side B, let go of side B, double jump Thunder, side B again, grab Legend. That's going to take like 7 seconds off of the limit timer. So a lot of the times you're not really going to have to worry about limit as Pikachu, which is a big deal because if you don't have limit, this character actually doesn't kill. Obviously, all the smash attacks are kill move. Up smash, down smash, forward smash are big deals. Especially the up smash buff is particularly relevant. But as Pikachu, there's a lot of times where I can throw out moves and then DI correctly as I'm throwing out the move. So it's not going to be that big of a deal. Dash attack is not going to kill particularly early, which is obviously one of the also main buffs in my opinion for this character, which I will go into in a video at a different time. But I do think Cloud just struggles. Also, Pikachu edge guards the hell out of him. Pikachu has aerials that are safe on shield for up B. Pikachu can SDI out of up B because of the fact that Pikachu is so small. So like if you fare into a Cloud and you're like holding forward as Pikachu, you can SDI through him if he up Bs and the final 2 hits don't hit and you can go a landing near punish into down smash if he's at death percent or up tilt and get huge combos off it or even near back air depending on where you are on the stage. It is a huge deal. Thunder Jolt is super difficult for this character to deal with. You know, the fact that he can parry all of his landing aerials, which have to come at specific timings because Pikachu is so short, makes it really difficult for Cloud to get anything started unless Pikachu is just holding forward. Granted, I've held forward before. I've got smacked by Cloud back air and Cloud forward air and Cloud side B, but if you are playing the matchup correctly, which is a lot of just Thunder Jolt into whatever you want to do, it makes it so difficult for Cloud. I think this matchup is very easy for him. I kind of want to get my gamer chair, because this chair isn't comfortable. Gamer chair! Anywho, Corrin. This matchup's also really easy, because I think slow sword characters just don't do well versus Pikachu, because Pikachu is going to edge guard you, because Corrin's recovery kind of sucks. If I get to level 3, I will do the entire DK wrap. And that's fine, but only level 3. So, I think Corrin struggles in neutral. I think Corrin struggles in punish game. I think Corrin struggles not really in killing, but like it's hard to land Corrin's kill moves because side B is not going to be that good. Back air is really obvious, and again, Pikachu is so short to the point where you're just going to be able to stay on the ground the whole time, wait for Corrin to jump, and then hit you because of it, which isn't going to be good. Like, I think that's really bad for Corrin. I think this matchup is one of Corrin's worst, if not Corrin's worst. Actually, I'm just going to put it in +3. This matchup sucks. This matchup is really bad. I don't think the invincibility buffs, because you still put a lingering hitbox out there like back air and you trade and you get spiked, which is crazy. Like, Pikachu kind of just destroys Corrin. This matchup sucks. This matchup's really bad. I have never even come close to struggling with any Corrin in the entire world. Doesn't matter who it is, because like the entire matchup for Corrin relies on whiff punishing, but Corrin's too slow to do that, especially considering Thunder Jolt's a thing. And if you just Thunder Jolt, wait a little bit longer than you normally would, see if Corrin's going to counter. it's just hard for Corrin to do like anything in this matchup. I think Pikachu just absolutely destroys the character, has a better punish game, better advantage state, better disadvantage state, better literally everything in this matchup. Diddy Kong is the next character. I think Diddy, it's somewhere between here. It's either one of the easiest 6-4s or the harder 65-35s. I think this matchup's not great. I think Pikachu beat Diddy in Smash 4, and basically the only thing that you have to remember about the Diddy matchup is the fact, like, in terms of changing the matchup, because a lot of it stays the same, because down tilt is punishable, and there's still banana 50-50s, whether it's banana grab or banana down tilt, and you're just going to have to guess, is the fact that Diddy Kong, if you get banana at the edge, you don't slip off, so you can't just stay at the ledge, so it's actually better in the Diddy matchup to stay in center stage, as opposed to near the ledge where you would get banana and fall off to the ledge and then not really get ledge dropped because you're Pikachu. So now you stay in the center, and if you get hit, you get hit. That's going to be fine, but it's really not going to be that big of a deal. I do think that Diddy Kong still struggles with a lot of stuff. I think Thunder Jolt is absolutely amazing in this matchup. Diddy Kong has good out of shield options because of banana out of shield and of course jump Z drop out of shield, but a lot of times Pikachu can just kind of wait out Diddy Kong and it's not going to be that big of a deal. Also, if Pika gets the hit, it's going to be a big deal, but if Diddy Kong gets the hit, again, Pikachu's disadvantage state is so strong between up B, between Thunder Jolt, between just like everything that he has. It's going to be really difficult for Diddy to get consecutive hits on Pikachu, whereas it's not going to be particularly difficult for Pikachu to like hit monkey flips or hit barrels or hit like landing aerials. So it's just kind of rough for Diddy Kong in my opinion. So anywho, yeah, Pikachu just does whatever he wants to Donkey Kong, and Donkey Kong doesn't really have another option. It's really easy to edgeguard Donkey Kong. It's really easy to keep Donkey Kong in disadvantage. It's really easy to not worry about when DK's hitting you, except for the true combos. Literally, all you have to worry about in this matchup is punch, and then like random like ledge hop down airs to hit your 2-frame. But honestly, it's really not that bad. Like, this matchup is so bad. Pikachu can nair loop him. There are undiable 0 to deaths with back air, up air, thunder, because DK is too big to DI out of them, and that is a huge deal in my opinion. DK just dies. It is such a bad matchup in my opinion. Easily one of the worst matchups in the game. Not Pikachu's best matchup, ironically, probably second best, but yeah, it's really, really bad. So now, going into Dr. Mario, I definitely think Pikachu wins this matchup. I do think it is 6-4. Pikachu can run circles around Dr. Mario. I almost said Donkey Kong. Literally can run circles around Doc. He is so slow. The buffs do help, but down tilt, down B is going to be a huge deal, especially considering down tilt can 2-frame. Maybe it's in 55-45 actually. I'm going to put it in 55-45. I lied. So I do think it is fairly difficult for Doc to really get a lot of start. No, that's 6-4. It is definitely 6-4. Pikachu just like keeps him at disadvantage. Doc doesn't really have good tools to get out of disadvantage. He doesn't have the aerials that are as safe as Mario's, which you have to parry. So Doc, you just don't even have to parry, and then you just kind of hit him for it. And it's just not really that easy for Doc to do anything. Granted, Pikachu dies to down throw, down B, down throw fair. You know, Cape can be a pain in the ass because you can't really use T-Jolts the way you want to as Pikachu, but it's still not a good matchup. I think this matchup's super rough for Doc. Like, if you just play patient and play whiff punishy the way you should as Pikachu against this character, like, Doc really struggles to get in, really struggles to do, like, anything. Also, the fact that Pikachu can just kind of edgeguard Doc, like you see when Doc uses down B and then can just kind of hit him out of it. Down air beats up B, which is a big deal. And again, Doc's recovery is one of the worst in the entire game, so you will definitely be able to hit Dr. Mario out of basically anything he wants to do if you are ready for it. Duck Hunt, I do think is 6-4. I wouldn't call it 65-35 quite there, because Duck Hunt honestly does struggle to deal with a lot of Pikachu's pressure. The edge guarding of Pikachu, the damage output of Pikachu, just the control with Thunder Jolt is going to be really difficult for Duck Hunt to deal with, but not as difficult as a lot of other characters, because Duck Hunt can kill, he can 2-frame, he can kind of wall Pikachu out if he gets the lead, which is really difficult. Like, Pikachu approaching Duck Hunt isn't going to be the easiest thing in the world, because of down B, because of side B, all those things eat Thunder Jolt as well as neutral B, so it is somewhat difficult for Pikachu to approach, but when Pikachu gets the hit, Duck Hunt just like dies. It is so easy to keep Duck Hunt in disadvantage in this game, because like up air is just so good, B reverse can only happens once and it's a fairly laggy move, so it's really difficult to Duck Hunt to regain his footing, but in the neutral it isn't that easy for Pikachu. It's not like hard for Pikachu, but it's not easy. So I do think that Pikachu has like at least even in neutral and then advantage in basically every other part, but not enough to the point where it's 65-35. Maybe because of edge guarding is at 65-35, but can dissuade Pikachu's a lot from edge guarding. So it is somewhat difficult, you know, if they have really good can placement. But if you don't have a good can placement a single time, or if can is on stage a single time, Duck Hunt will just die to Spike. Falco is a matchup that I think is fairly easy. I mean, again, a lot of Falco in terms of every character in this game is avoid up tilt and avoid the advantage state of Falco, and I think Pikachu does a very good job at both of those. Thunderjolt isn't going to be as useful because of his frame 1 reflector, but you don't even need it. If Pikachu stays grounded, it is so difficult for Falco to do basically anything. I remember playing a Falco at Genesis, and I just kind of like got hit a single time, or like, rather I lost game 1, but then game 2 I remembered, okay, I'm going to stop Thunder Jolting and stop jumping at the Falco and I will win, and that's basically all you have to do. Down tilt is amazing in this matchup. You know, it's just so easy to whiff punish Falco or just kind of like wait outside of the ranges where Falco wants to swing. It's just like not that easy for Pikachu to really like get hit by Falco if you're really committing to don't get hit by up tilt, don't get hit by nair, things like that. And Pikachu can do that very well, so I think that he struggles a bit. I think it is definitely one of Pikachu's easier matchups. Granted, Pikachu has a lot of easy matchups because this character is broken, but that's beside the point. So Fox is honestly a 55-45 matchup. I do not understand why Light thinks this matchup is super terrible, especially now that the shield change happened where Fox's shield isn't super bad, because I can understand getting back on full shield is definitely obnoxious, but I do think that doesn't happen anymore, obviously, because of the 7.0 patch. Pikachu still does win because Pikachu's damage output in this matchup is slightly higher than Fox's. The kill potential is overall worse, but the edge guarding capabilities of Pikachu is going to definitely put this in Pikachu's favor. Down air beating up B is a big deal. Down air being able to spike, quick attack being able to hit out of the initial hits of up B. Side B is really difficult to deal with as Pikachu, honestly, when he's trying to come back, because you have to guess it so many times, and because of the fact that he can drift out or drift in or do no drift on the side B's high, make it really difficult for Pikachu to really deal with it. And again, Fox's speed and his ground options are just better than Pikachu's. Fox's dash attack, Fox's dash up down tilt, dash up forward tilt are so difficult for Pikachu to deal with, but at the same time they don't net a whole ton except for down tilt and dash attack, obviously. But dash attack at 0, you know, you get dash attack up tilted and then you nair him for it. It's literally so minus on hit. But also Fox's should stop dash attack into up tilt. They should do dash attack into shield or parry, which Light does a lot. So I don't know, this matchup is definitely like Pikachu wins in my opinion. I think it is obvious that Pikachu wins, but he doesn't win to the point where the matchup's like a throwaway easy. I definitely think it is one of Pikachu's harder winning matchups just because Fox is so fast. He has amazing kill confirms. If you aren't shielding at all times, you are going to get hit by nair up smash or dare up smash and things like that. Granted, Pikachu's shield got a bit better, so you're not going to get shield poked as much anymore, but I do think it is still somewhat difficult for Pikachu to just stay alive in this matchup, especially considering even if you're going to shield, you take grabs and getting edge trapped. Fox is one of the characters that are the best at edge trapping Pikachu because he has just amazingly fast aerials, back air and nair and forward smash and things like that make it somewhat difficult for Pikachu to just like get off the ledge as safely as you want. And again, Fox is just so fast to the point where if you go to a platform, he can just kind of up air you or back air you forward. So like that's crazy. Also, like a lot of thunder confirms are kind of way more difficult on Fox because of the fact that he has a reflector. So things like down throw, up air, thunder are going to be very difficult against Fox. They're still true, but you really have to be really good at it. And I think I'm the only one that's good enough at it, and I still miss it a lot. So yeah, it's hard. Ganondorf. This matchup is one of the worst, if not the single worst matchup in the entire game. Pikachu back airs, and Ganon loses. Pikachu Thunder Jolts, and Ganon loses. Pikachu Nair Loops, and does normal stuff, and Ganon loses. Literally any single one of Pikachu's game plans, like 7-3s this character. So if you add it all up, that's actually a 210 to negative 110 matchup, because I think every single game plan that Pikachu wants to do is 7-3. So therefore, it's just really bad. You have to Omega be better than your opponent if you are a Ganondorf versus a Pikachu, because it's just so hard to recover, it's so hard to land hits in neutral, it's so hard to do anything. And again, these ratios aren't for like single games. Like 90-10 is not the percentage of winning a game, it's winning a set. So consistently winning neutral and advantage state versus a Pikachu as Ganondorf over the course of a set is basically impossible. This matchup might as well be 100-0, but I'm not going to put 100-0 because even I'm scared of saying that, so 90-10 it is. So, Greninja. I think this matchup is very slightly in Pikachu's favor, just because I think that Pikachu's defensive game is better than Greninja's defensive game, and again, the fact, like, Greninja, one of the things that Greninja loses to the hardest is people parrying, and I think because of the fact that Pikachu is short, it allows for easier parries against Greninja, so you get parry into up tilt, you get parry into F tilt, you get a lot of things that are going to be very crucial in this matchup. Granted, your pressure is going to be a lot different because of the fact that Greninja has aerial into backdash, or just backdash in general, and Thunder Jolt can get countered. Granted, counter can be punished if you do Thunder Jolt, run up shield, and then you have to guess whether, like, if they go up, you Thunder. If they go, like, down and away from you, you can't really punish it, but they lose stage control. If they go down and into you, you just kind of hit them for it with, like, up air or back air. But I do think that, like, the number one thing that puts Pikachu above in this matchup, other than the parrying, is the fact that Pikachu will occasionally edgeguard Greninja. Like, I did it versus Stroder, I got, like, a down air on a side B, and that little instance, like, things like that are really difficult for Greninja to get around. Like, you have to recover so well as Greninja the entire set in order to not die to a Pikachu edgeguard, but if you guess right once, that is basically going to be the game, because I think that Pikachu with a lead is incredibly difficult to overcome as Greninja, a character that doesn't have safe pressure, as a character that can get parried a lot, as a character that has to force their way in, but with not as safe aerials as you want. So it's going to be difficult for Greninja to really get in the amount that they want, but granted, if Greninja has the lead, it is fairly difficult to kind of get it back as Pika. Granted, again, you have those edge guards, you have long combos, fast faller combos, so things like back air into dash grab will just work, which get you into nair loops. Pikachu can do a ton of his Pikachu damage against Greninja, but also Pikachu dies really early, like down tilt, up smash, or dash attack fair, things like that. So it's not super easy, but I do think it is easier for Pikachu to get the first stock, which is going to be a big deal. Hero time. I think this matchup kind of sucks for Hero. I'm going to put it at 65-35. I don't think this matchup is easy at all for Hero, because Pikachu Thunder Jolt run is going to be so good. If you don't have bounce as Hero, you're just gonna lose. Like, Pikachu can just get all the pressure that he normally wants. Hero doesn't have good out of shield options. He gets edge guarded. If he doesn't get zoom, it is so hard It is so hard for Hero to really get what he wants started. So I do think that Pikachu just wins. If he has bounce, it's going to be a little different, but at the same time, Pikachu is totally fine playing the passive game. He's totally fine playing the grounded kind of camping, or not camping, but like passive aggressive type of game. And again, if Pikachu gets the hit, Hero explodes, whereas if Hero gets the hit, he gets 2 hits, and that's about it. Like, thwack, obviously 2 framing can be like a swing factor, but I do think this matchup is very not good for Hero. One of Hero's worst in the entire game. Like, I could see Hero in 6-4, but like, I still, it's definitely one of these two. It's not good for Hero, like, at all. But I'll still put him at 65-35, because that's the point of this matchup chart, is I'm talking about real stuff. Ice Climbers. I do think this matchup is, it's either 55-45 or 6-4. I'm not 100% sure. I'm going to put it in 55 for now. Pikachu obviously has a lot of close range games, so if Ice Climbers want to play the defensive game and Pikachu is being aggressive, that can be somewhat problematic for Pikachu, because up smash out of shield is amazing. Again, you get the doubled shield lag on Nana and Popo's shield, which is going to be a big deal, but I do definitely think that Pikachu wins. Pikachu is one of the best characters, if not the best character, at edge guarding Ice Climbers and Popo. Really good at killing Nana in general, because like, you get, like, let's say a back throw on Popo, and then you just like run and you like attack cancel back air and hit Nana towards the opposite side, and then you attack cancel back air again, then you forward smash. Popo won't be able to catch up to you because he's so slow, and then you just like down air Nana or forward air Nana. It is really, really difficult for Ice Climbers to not die when they get separated. It is really easy for Pikachu to edgeguard Ice Climbers because you have things like drop off back air, which can hit Popo out of his up B. You have Thunder, which can hit out of side B. It is so difficult for Ice Climbers to get what they want started, especially considering the fact that Pikachu, if you are really good at the parry timing on side B, can parry and then dash attack Ice Climbers. It is really easy for Pikachu to rack up different amounts of damage on Popo and Nana, which means that separating them is even easier. I do definitely think that Pikachu wins this matchup. It's not heavy. I do think it is one of the harder matchups that Pikachu wins for sure, but I do think that Pikachu wins for sure. Ike. I think Ike is actually one of the harder swordsmen for Pikachu, but I do think it is still 55-45. Pikachu's damage output and the ability to potentially get edge guards is going to be huge, and again, the fact that Pikachu is short means that parry timing, which is one of the most important things against Ike, is going to be a little bit easier because parrying Nair will lead to F tilts or up tilts depending on what side Ike is on. The fact that Ike has to really rely on Pikachu being overly aggressive and Pikachu has Thunder Jolt and his amazing ground speed and dashes is going to make it somewhat difficult for Ike, but again, the kill differential in this matchup, I think kill differentials are really important overall in Smash Ultimate, and it's something that people do not talk about enough. But I do think overall it is important, and it is definitely in Ike's favor because Ike is way stronger and somewhat heavy and not super easily edge guardable by Pikachu. So like, you know, Pikachu will be dying at like 85 to a Nair, whereas Ike is going to be dying at like 140 to a forward air. And that's a big deal. Granted, Pikachu's damage output is better and his combos are better and his advantage state is better. So there will probably be more neutral interactions per stock in favor of Pikachu, but overall I do think it is somewhat difficult to close out the stocks as Pikachu. And again, it's not going to be a huge deal because like you will get like parry dash attack, parry F tilt ledge trap, something like that. But I do think it is not super easy for Pikachu, just a little bit easy. So Pikachu Incineroar is definitely also super easy. Pikachu edgeguards Incineroar, Pikachu combos Incineroar, Pikachu can play passive versus Incineroar. Just basically nothing in this matchup is in Incineroar's favor unless Incineroar is hard calling you out with neutral Bs or hard calling you out with up Bs. But again, if that's the case, the Incineroar is just outplaying the hell out of you and guessing so well to the point where it's definitely just them. Like, this matchup sucks. Like, this matchup's really easy. Inkling, in my opinion, is going to be a 55-45 matchup. I do think, like, the biggest thing in this matchup, the number one biggest thing in this matchup, is the fact that up throw, up air basically does not work on Pikachu. It is a 1% window. It is 99%, or obviously if you have Ink or Rage, it's going to be a little different and maybe a little bigger. But it is not easy for Inkling to kill Pikachu. If you avoid Roller as Pikachu, if you are at 60% and you DI everything up and then jump out of hit stun, Inkling has no way to reliably kill Pikachu, whereas Pikachu has things like forward air, which is just fairly strong, Nair down smash, Nair up smash, edge trapping. Granted, both characters do a decent amount of damage to each other, so I'm not saying that's the case, but I do think that Pikachu does beat Inkling slightly just because of the ease of killing, because if Inkling doesn't get Roller, he doesn't have, or rather they don't have up throw up air, so it's going to be like forward airs and down tilts and splat bombs and hard reads in order for Inklings to get kills, whereas Pikachu has a lot more safe kill tools in forward air, in down tilt, in detect chases, or in juggling, or things like that. Like up air at some points a kill move. I have a better kill throw in terms of up throw, so Pikachu and dash attack obviously is going to be a huge deal, but I think that Pikachu just overall has an easier time killing than Inkling, and that's basically going to be the only thing that separates these two characters, because Inkling does a ton of damage and has fairly good advantage state. Granted, Pikachu has quick attack, but also Pikachu can't really edge guard Inkling because it's fairly difficult, but you can edge trap, but also Inkling is one of the only characters that really edge traps Pikachu, so it's a lot of intricate stuff, but I do think the kill differential and the kill ease of these two characters is going to be what puts Pikachu in advantage. Isabel. Isabel is either 60-40 or 65-35. I think Pikachu's rushdown is super hard. I'm going to put 65-35 because, so I think Isabel struggles a lot, honestly, with getting back on stage. The edge guarding and edge trapping of Pikachu is going to be incredibly strong. This is also the case for Villager, but he's just going to be a lot lower. I think that Isabel struggles with the up close game. Add a shield game is going to be way better for Pikachu. It is going to be so much easier for Pikachu to deal damage, to kill other, because Nair down smash is going to be equal or better than Nair down smash, or rather jab down smash for Isabel. So just honestly, this character kind of struggles to kill, and Pikachu can get kills with repetition of, you know, edge guards or down air and things like that. So honestly, kill differential and neutral I feel like are definitely in Pikachu's favor, especially considering the fact that quick attack does beat projectiles and also hits very low in general, so it's fairly hard for Isabel and Villager to keep Pikachu out, where it is like not the case the other way. So I do think Pikachu wins fairly handily. Puff is an interesting one. I definitely do think that Pikachu wins, but I'm not sure if it's 55-45 or 6-4. I'm going to put 6-4 because I did learn how to play this matchup, which is literally spam Thunder Jolts and just do up tilt and forward tilt anti-airs. If you do that, Pikachu has a really easy time, or not really easy time, but a somewhat easy time keeping Puff out, and Puff has a fairly difficult time getting in. I do think the kill differential is fairly good in Pikachu's favor, but at the same time, Pikachu can't really edgeguard Puff super well, and also Puff has really easy kill confirms. Not really easy, but like down air to rest is going to be a big deal. You have tech chases with Sing Rest. You have a lot of options that Puff has, just like in general, are fairly difficult for Pikachu to deal with, but at the same time, if you really play that keep away game, you play the I don't want to get hit by Puff game, you will definitely win as Pikachu. Again, up tilt being disjointed, forward tilt being disjointed are going to be a big deal if you have Puff really high in the air. Up air is disjointed. It is going to be really difficult for Puff to get back down, so I do think this matchup is somewhat convincing in Pikachu's favor, but not as convincing as a lot of other characters. So Joker is actually going to be in slight Pikachu's favor. I do not think this matchup is 6-4. I do think it is, again, one of the harder matchups for Pikachu in advantage. I do definitely think Pikachu wins, mostly because of the edge guarding factor and the fact that Pikachu kind of can contest with a lot of what Joker wants to do. You know, Psybees are not going to be that good in the matchup because of quick attack punishes. You have the ability of Pikachu to do a lot of drag down combos, just as Joker's want to do a lot of drag down combos. Pikachu can edge guard and edge trap Joker fairly well. Thunder Jolt, although it can be Rebels guarded, is going to lead to grabs or lead to a bunch of pressure. Honestly, like, the main thing is, like, a lot of this character, like both characters, for the other character, like the opponent, is going to be fairly hard to hit. It is not easy to hit Joker because of his low dash speed and the fact that he like shrinks during an air, but also Pikachu, obviously notoriously, pancakes a lot, does a lot of low profiling in general, and is very hard to hit. So both characters are going to kind of be vying for a position in this matchup, but I do think Pikachu, once he gets the hit, is a little bit better, and again has a little bit easier time killing, especially now that when Joker has Arsene, he's not going to have it for like 35 seconds anymore, because you can actually hit Joker. If you hit Joker off stage when he gets Arsene, you edge trap him, you edge guard him with Thunder Jolts and with forward airs, and even though he might not necessarily die, you are going to drain that Arsene meter quicker, which means that basically all you have to worry about for killing is like forward air into up air down smash, or raw up smash, or raw drag down forward air, which Leo does a ton, but Leo is also the best player in the game, so like I can't get mad when he beats me, even though it's game 5. I definitely should have won game 4, but you know, that's beside the point. I definitely think Pikachu wins 55-45. Also, deadass, even though like I talk about this matchup, I really don't know it. I think I've played this matchup in terms of tournament maybe 5 or 6 times like ever, because I've played Leo the 2 times I've lost to him when he plays Joker. I've played a couple local Jokers once or twice, and like that's about it. And I've played a couple of Jokers in friendlies, mostly being Slaw from Oklahoma. And that's about it. That's all the experience I have, and that's able to put me to game 5 against Leo, so I don't know, man. I think King Day-to-Day is one of Pikachu's easiest matchups. I don't want to say 90-10 because Day-to-Day is still very heavy, and if you mess up sometimes hitting Gordo, that can be really difficult, but I do think Pikachu easily beats Day-to-Day. Thunder Jolt, forward tilt, up air, up tilt, so many things beat Gordo. The disadvantage state for Day-to-Day is not going to be good, and yes, I'm saying Day-to-Day, it's the Japanese pronunciation, which is how I learned how to say it, because I played Brawl in Japanese before I came out in America. Give me a break, YouTube comments. It's fine that I say Day-to-Day. Twitch chat, it's fine that I say Day-to-Day. Please stop yelling at me for it. But anyway, this matchup, yeah, Pikachu just kind of can play passive and use Thunder Jolts to run up and get a lot of stuff, and combos, and, you know, edge pressure, and just so many things. It's very difficult for Day-to-Day to get back on the stage, get back on the ground, play neutral correctly, so I definitely think this matchup is one of, if not Day-to-Day's worst. King K. Rool is also another 70-30 matchup. I think Pikachu just, again, T-Jolt does so much in this matchup. Edge guarding is super easy in this matchup. Thunder is super good in this matchup, both for edge guarding, for juggling. It is so hard for Day-to-Day King K. Rool to get down. It is very difficult for King K. Rool to recover. It is really difficult for King K. Rool to get off the ledge. It is really difficult for King K. Rool to play neutral. Again, not quite as easy as Donkey Kong or Ganon, but still very easy. Kirby is another character, kind of like Puff. Actually, it might be a little harder for Puff because of the fact that I feel like Kirby's edge guarding, because Kirby has a spike, is going to be fairly difficult. And the fact that, again, Kirby has better ground options. Forward tilt, down tilt are going to be huge in this matchup. Gets more off of grab overall. So I do feel like Kirby does a little better in this matchup compared to Puff. Granted, doesn't have rest, but at the same time you don't need rest because you have down tilt, you have forward tilt, you have back air reads. Somewhat like, it's not as easy to get off of the ledge against Kirby as it is against Jigglypuff, but again, if you do the up tilts, forward tilts, Kirby will still have a very difficult time. But again, down tilt and forward tilt are such a good move to the point where you have to second guess it and kind of play neutral a little bit. Granted, Thunder Jolt can be very, very good in this matchup, but also on the flip side rather, Kirby can inhale, and if Kirby gets Thunder Jolt, this matchup becomes a pain in the ass. So I definitely do not really want to put like Pikachu like super winning against Kirby, because Thunder Jolt Kirby is really, really good, and some things can be kind of problematic in this matchup, but I do think Pikachu wins. Link, I'm going to put at 55-45 as well. Basically, the turning point for this is the kill differential is technically in Link's favor because of forward air, forward tilt, up tilt, etc. Like all those really good kill moves that Link has. But Pikachu can pressure Link in places where Link normally does not get pressured, which is going to be heavily off stage. I think that if Link ever has to pull bomb and you know that, you can just kind of jump off stage as Pikachu immediately and get a forward air before you can get the Z drop into bomb explosion. I've done that multiple times versus a bunch of Links, and again, Thunder Jolt is going to be really good in this matchup. The combos you get versus Link are amazing, but you cannot be super greedy against this character because you will get upbeat out of shield, you will get dash back forward tilted. Those are huge, but I do think Pikachu, because of the edge guarding and again edge trapping, that is going to be, and just Thunder Jolt in general is going to be really good in this matchup. So I do think that those three factors mostly are going to be 55-45 in Pika favor. Definitely not easy though. Little Mac is an interesting one. Little Mac, in my opinion, is between 65-35 and 7-3. I'm inclined to put 65-35 just because, again, characters that do better versus Pikachu have good ground games. And Little Mac obviously has a really good ground game. You know, if you want to talk about it in specifics, obviously Pikachu does very well at getting Little Mac off stage. Killing Little Mac, edge guarding, the combos, etc. are definitely in Pikachu's favor, and the swinginess of this matchup is going to put it in Pikachu's favor for sure. But at the same time, sometimes you might just get hit, and it's annoying for Pikachu to deal with sometimes. Granted, Thunder Jolt's very good, and that's going to be honestly the saving grace. If Pikachu didn't have Thunder Jolt, this would maybe be 55-45 in Pikachu's favor, but like very slightly. But I do think that because back air always sends behind now, you have drag downs, you have forward air, nair, and back air drag downs, you have the ability to edge guard Little Mac super easily. In my opinion, this is still 65-35, but not as easy as a lot of the other characters. Because again, Pikachu is a little bit too fast to really spam Thunder Jolt against Little Mac, just because like if you jump Thunder Jolt and he like runs at you and you're just like, okay, well now he's like mid-range where you can't really Thunder Jolt again, so you kind of have to play smart against this character. Granted, Quick Attack is broken in this matchup, so that's fine, but Thunder Jolt's not going to really be the wave. Granted, I'm also not someone that will like shamelessly platform camp Little Mac when you have a stock lead, so maybe it's actually 7-3, because like Smashville, Battlefield, Yoshi's all seem like really bad stages for Little Mac if Pikachu ever gets the lead, but I'm not that much of a weenie, so I don't do that, so I fight, which is still 65-35. Lucario. I do think Lucario is a 6-4 matchup. I do think that Pikachu, again, the ability for Pikachu to kill off of edge guards is going to be huge, because sometimes Lucario just doesn't get to have aura because Pikachu's edge guarding and edge trapping is so good, and Lucario oftentimes cannot get it grounded. Granted, obviously big silver lining in this matchup, and the reason it might be 55-45, you can argue me there, is going to be the fact that if you counter the Thunder Jolt, you like freeze in place and then get hit by it, and Lucario's counter is absolutely amazing. And obviously, aura, really good for Lucario, things like that. Just obviously going to be really good in a bunch of aspects, but I do think that Pikachu can play safe enough and can play well enough and get enough edge guards to the point where Lucario will not get as much aura as he needs in a game. So now we have Lucas, and I'm going to put Lucas as the second character in even. I played Remy with the Lucas from Oregon, who is arguably, I think he's the best Lucas, at least the best Lucas that I have played. This character has a lot of tools against Pikachu. Magnet makes so that Thunder Jolt can be really difficult. His frame data is surprisingly safe. Go to ultimateframedata.com and look at Lucas's frame data. It is ridiculous how safe this character is. Forward air, nair, F-tilt are all incredibly good. Obviously, you have Zair, which is a good tool. You have the 3 kill throws that Lucas has. You have PK Fire. You have a lot of tools. However, Pikachu's advantage state is good enough to the point where you can definitely contest this. If you hit Lucas, you don't necessarily combo him for a long time because it's kind of awkward to combo, but again, just up air and edge trapping and just keeping him in awkward situations can definitely happen. And again, if Lucas whiffs in your face, like down tilts or forward tilts, you can quick attack punish them, you can dash grab a lot of the stuff, but you really have to be on your stuff in order to play against Lucas. You have to know the frame data, you have to know what you can punish, what you have to respect, and kind of understand when to dash back and give Lucas space, because it is fairly difficult to do that. And I played Remy again. He 3-0'd the crap out of me in a money match when we played. Granted, he knows the matchup a lot better because he has H4, one of the best Pikachus in his region. Like probably a top 5 Pikachu in the world probably, and I have very little Lucas experience, but then I played that one set, he destroyed my life, and then the next 2 sets were a bit closer in my favor. I did win both of them. Granted, one of them used Zero Suit in the game, but it's not as easy as you'd expect, just because like a lot of Pikachu's tools are kind of awkward. You don't want to overcommit with back air or forward air because he has pivot grab and also just dash back PK fire, but again, the advantage state is enough where I feel like you do, like in the edge guarding, you can definitely edge guard Lucas if you kind of hit him, like if you kind of like keep threatening around the tether range, as I mentioned earlier with Byleth. Pikachu is one of the best tether characters, like tether edge guarding characters, and then if they have to PK Thunder, down air will just beat PK Thunder basically at all times. So those are going to be the 2 key things that make this matchup even. If you are not good at edge guarding, you are not good at tether edge guarding, and you are not good at keeping an advantage state, I do think that you will struggle a lot with Lucas, as you really have to play that structured type of game. I'm going to put Pikachu at 6'4". I think this matchup is potentially 65-35. Pikachu's edge guarding is absolutely fantastic, and Luigi one of the most volatile edge guarding, like offstage characters in the game. It's going to be fairly difficult for Luigi to get a lot started versus Pikachu, but if you are impatient or you hit his shield, there are so many areas where Luigi can just 50-50 you to death. Down throw up B really working at Pikachu on like 65%, and he just has to guess where you are. That is going to be a big deal in my opinion. It is fairly good for Luigi to just, like, the kill differential in this matchup is definitely even or slightly Luigi's favored. The only reason I maybe don't say that is because of the fact that you have the edge guarding capabilities of Pikachu, but again, you have to respect down B, which is frame 1 invincible, and if you do, it's fine, but the fact that it has such a big wind box means that a lot of times if you're trying to bait a down B, you might just get sucked into it anyway, which is exactly what happened me versus Elegant at Evo. I literally intentionally missed an up air to be like, I want him to down B, up air, and I was like, it's gonna miss and it's gonna be fine. Then the down B sucked me into it and killed me last stock because I was at like 130, but I was gonna like bait the down B and then forward air him, and it just didn't work. So you have to be very careful when you're playing against Luigi, but I think if you are careful, this matchup is Pikachu's favor for sure. Mario, this is one that I've gotten a lot of crap for because I think this matchup is even. I think, again, as I mentioned a couple other times, being able to parry consistently because of Pikachu's short stature is going to be huge. Parry F-tilt is guaranteed, assuming the Mario does not have a fresh full hopped back air. So if they do a short hop back air, it is -3, which means that if you parry it, you will get an F-tilt punish every single time. Being able to juggle Mario is a huge deal. He does not have big hitboxes, obviously, in the air, rather. So a lot of the times, if you hit him up, you can up air him, and up air him, and up air him, and then sure, back air him to get him near the ledge, and then cover everything but ledge jump, and then up air him over and over and over again. His fall speed is ambiguous, and he obviously does have really good tools to deal with Pikachu as well. He has Cape, which means you cannot Thunder Jolt. He has Flood, which means that you cannot quick attack super easily. He can dash attack your up B, and it lingers so long that it's very difficult to outweight that dash attack, but I feel like both characters have a ton of good stuff in the matchup. I feel like overall Pikachu does more damage in combos. I feel like overall Mario is slightly better at killing than Pikachu is, but if you're playing that really passive game, you're not spamming dash attack, you're kind of just doing down tilts and quick attacks and kind of playing the safe kind of poke game, you can put Mario in a disadvantaged position in order to kill him and dash attack maybe his landing or up smash, things like that. I do think Pikachu can, like, if you want to really argue it, and I'm not going to be super opposed to putting Mario in the 45-55 category, but I do think it is 55, or rather it is 50-50 if you just focus on parrying and you focus on just what is safe and you understand the ranges that Mario wants to be in and how he wants to combo, and banning Pokemon Stadium. Please, Pikachu mains, ban Pokemon Stadium versus this character, and also Battlefield. I think that Yoshi's, even though it is Mario's best stage, is worse against Pikachu because of the fact that you can have Thunderdolts ride the wall of the stage, so you won't get dash attacked as much. So I think that's a big deal, so just please. Marth is 60-40. I think that Marth really has to get side Bs in order to win. If Marth does not get side Bs and you understand the differences of how Marth is going to approach and Lucina is going to approach, I do think it's fairly difficult for Marth to really get in because a lot of his stuff can just be different timings than Lucina, but if you're aware of that, which is something I learned when playing Leo in our set versus at Summit, it's not going to be that good. So I don't know. It's fairly difficult, in my opinion, for Marth to get a lot started. You just have to avoid tippers, but again, because of Thunder Jolt, because of back air, because of edge trapping, it is fairly difficult for Marth to really do what he wants, mostly Thunder Jolt and things like forward air and back air. So I don't know, man. Like, I think this matchup is pretty favored in Pika's favor. Lucina, on the other hand, is slightly more difficult for Pikachu. I do think Pikachu wins because of one move and one move alone. That is going to be Quick Attack, and I've refrained from talking about a lot of it with Marth because Lucina is going to be a little bit more relevant in this matchup, or rather, like, in this game, so I want to talk about Lucina a little bit more in depth. If you are fighting against a Marth or Lucina player and they jump at you and you are Pikachu, you in your head can be like, cool, I got the hit. Because you know they have to land at a specific timing if they're doing short hop landing aerial, and you can whiff punish it with Quick Attack. That is a huge deal. It is a really, really big deal in my opinion, because you can get Quick Attack, which leads into like Flash or Shield. If they up B, you shield it, then you punish them, and if they do a landing aerial, you parry it, and if they jump, then you just kind of do the same thing, Quick Attack them again, and just put them in this loop. Pikachu's edge trapping is really strong. Pikachu's combo game overall is very strong versus Lucina. Lucina has to guess a lot, and you know, people always say like, oh, but Pikachu struggles with sword characters, and that is literally not true at all. You have Thunder Jolt, you have your burst range of forward air, you have dash attack, you have so many good things in this matchup in my opinion. Obviously, Lucina very consistent, can edge trap Pika, can get really early kills, you have to watch out for Shield Breaker. There's a lot of good stuff that Lucina has as well, but Quick Attack and Thunder Jolt are what are going to put this matchup over the edge in Pikachu's favor. Again, not heavily, you definitely can lose this matchup, but I definitely think Pikachu wins. So I think that Mega Man is definitely a 6-4 matchup, maybe 65-35. It is in that awkward border. Pikachu is really good at getting in on Pellet, and Pellet is obviously going to be the kind of staple that Mega Man has. If you are really good versus Pellet, you have a good time versus Mega Man. Pikachu can also edgeguard Mega Man fairly easily. He can combo Mega Man incredibly well. He can ignore Leaf Shield and punish a lot of the options that Mega Man has to like get away if Pikachu shields Leaf Shield. It is just really difficult for Mega Man to play. If you are patient on the ledge, you can honestly get around a lot of Mega Man's ledge trapping in terms of forward smash and forward air, because a lot of the times they'll like do like a fair to head cover instant ledge jump and then like forward smash, and then if you just wait, you can punish him for it, which is crazy. Honestly, you really have to be patient on the ledge. You really have to understand how Mega Man can recover, because up B into double jump into air dodge can be fairly good, but if you are ready for it, Pikachu can cover it, and if you ever catch Mega Man without a jump, he just dies. Meat Knight. So actually, I don't think this matchup's that bad. I do think Pikachu wins very slightly, but it's honestly not that bad. Pikachu's dare camping can kind of make it so that Thunder Jolt isn't going to be as much of a good option versus Meta Knight, but at the same time, if Meta Knight's putting himself in the air, you are now susceptible to up airs, and Pikachu's up air is broken. Granted, there's a really big deal. Like, the reason this matchup isn't 6-4 is because if you Tornado and, you know, Tornado to the ledge and Pikachu's off stage, you will just 2-frame Pikachu basically for free all the time. It is very, very difficult for Pikachu to get around because Tornado is such a big hitbox. It is very difficult, honestly, but again, the damage output of Pikachu is better. The fact that Pikachu won't really die to edge guards is going to be a big deal against this character. You kind of have to be careful versus Down B. It honestly is a really good get-out-of-jail-free card for Meta Knight. Honestly, Down B is one of the best moves in the game, in my opinion, like easily top 15-20 move. That move is so strong, but honestly, I feel like just Pikachu doesn't have like as many good tools as he normally does. Like, you can edgeguard him, sure, but you might get clipped by up B and you might just miss, and then he down B's to the ledge. You don't really get edge trapped by him, but again, you don't really kill him super easily. A lot of the way you're going to kill Meta Knight is kind of hitting him to like 130, 140, ledge trapping him with a forward air or getting like an up throw at the 150. So it's not easy, but I do think that Pikachu wins. Mewtwo is another 55-45 matchup. In theory, Pikachu does a lot better in this matchup than you expect, but again, similar to Fox, the speed of Mewtwo is going to make it fairly difficult for Pikachu to kind of just like stay in front of everything. You can edge guard him, you can edge trap him, you can do a bunch of those things, but Mewtwo, again, the kill differential is going to be fairly good in Mewtwo's favor because of things like back air, forward air, up throw, although like Pikachu obviously has nair, down smash, forward air, things like that, but again, Mewtwo is so light. Like, if you hit him off stage with a forward air, like at 90, he might just die because Mewtwo is incredibly light. But I do think that overall Mewtwo does fairly well. I played Zenkai from New York at the local before the last glitch. He did very, very well versus me. Granted, I won, but also I'm a much better player than him. No offense to him, of course. I'm just a top 15 player in the world. So it's not that easy, honestly, to fight this matchup. But again, Quick Attack is going to be really good. You still do have Thunder Jolt because side B is lagging enough where you can punish him, similar to like a Palutena counter or something like that. So honestly, Pikachu does have a decent amount of tools, but again, the speed of Mewtwo can definitely neutralize a lot of what Pikachu wants to do. And again, just this character 2-framing can be ridiculous with down smash. Like, that kills so early. Up throw still very good. Shadow Ball is great. If you can't shoot Thunder Jolt once they have like a more than a slightly charged Shadow Ball because it goes through it and hits you. So that's going to be a really big deal. But I do think that Pikachu overall, the control that he has is a little bit more than Mewtwo's. So it is 55-45. Mii Brawler is going to be 6'4". Honestly, I haven't played the best Mii Brawler, so I cannot honestly give my super accurate opinion on this, but I do think that the edge guarding of Pikachu, like, assuming a lot of the Mii Brawlers use the uppercut, up B, and down B with, like, the flip jump, I do think the Pikachu edge guards flip jump very well. And again, if you don't have the best recovery options against Pikachu, you will just die. Even though, like, it's a good out of shield option, it's frame like 3 or 4, I don't remember. So this character does have a lot of decent tools, but again, Pikachu's frame data and his juggling in general, the stuff that he can do versus Fox, he can just do versus Mii Brawler, but Mii Brawler isn't as fast on the ground, so you can use Thunder Jolts more because he has no reflector, which gives you a lot of opportunities to be a bit more offensive, and those things plus the edge guarding is going to be what, in my opinion, puts this matchup at 6'4". So, Mii Gunner is also 6'4", for completely different reasons. Because Mii Brawler has a really easy time dealing with Rushdown because of his up Bs being really, really fast. But Mii Gunner, assuming you're not using the, like, strong up B, which basically no Mii Gunner does not have a reliable way to deal with Rushdown. So if they're using the Reflect, you use Thunder Jolt, you bait the Reflect, and then you hit them for it. If they're not using the Reflect, you just Thunder Jolt, and then you run and do your normal pressure for Pikachu, which is not going to be easy for Mii Gunner to deal with, honestly. The edge guarding is going to be a big deal, the edge trapping is going to be a big deal, and Pikachu can play passive enough to the point where basically any of the projectile wars that Mii Gunner wants to play, Pikachu will either go even with or win, which is not good. Again, Pikachu's damage output is better, Pikachu's killing is overall better in my opinion because it's really easy to avoid forward smash and back air and down smash and things like that, and up air, I guess. So it's not really easy for Mii Gunner to kill Pikachu, where it is somewhat normal to kill characters with like forward air or dash attack or nair up smash or nair down smash and things like that. So I don't really know. I think it's fairly hard for Mii Gunner to really get out of Pikachu's pressure, where it is fairly easy for Pikachu to pick and choose the spots where he wants to go in to avoid a lot of what Mii Gunner wants to do. Mii Swordsman, I think, honestly really struggles with Pikachu. I think this matchup is very, very easy. Obviously, Mii Swordsman can use the Reflect in terms of his down B, but again, really can't deal with Pikachu's pressure, can't really use anything like his normal traps of like Tornado and things like that because Pikachu can alter his ledge grab timings and his like getting off the ledge timings. Like, he's so good at getting off the ledge that you're basically never going to get hit by Tornado if you know what you're doing. Other than that, he's a very underwhelming sword character. If he jumps, you can quick attack, as I mentioned with Lucina. You combo the hell out of him. He's slow. He doesn't really have a lot of aerial mobility. So in my opinion, he's one of the easier sword characters to fight against. Definitely just, I feel like, not a good matchup. Mr. Game & Watch. Hey, we finally got to a matchup that Pikachu loses. Granted, there's not too many, so I definitely understand that. But I do think that Mr. Game & Watch beats Pikachu. I'm always debating between 40-60 and 45-55, but because like I don't really know the matchup super well, but like damn, this matchup, so many things are in Game & Watch's favor. First off, his damage output is ridiculous. He does so much damage, it is very difficult for Pikachu, or rather, it's just the damage output is like even, which is, or Game & Watch's favor, which is wild considering the fact that Pikachu has some of the best damage output in the business. It is really difficult for Pikachu to juggle Mr. Game & Watch because of the fact that he has Key, and of course the fact that he has Up B, so it makes it really ambiguous what Game & Watch wants to do, and if you're wrong, you will just kind of die for it or take a bunch of damage. It is very difficult for Pikachu to edgeguard Game & Watch because of the fact that he has invincible up B. Granted, if you make him go low, you can always down air his up B, which can spike or hit out, which is a big deal, but again, it is fairly difficult to do that. You know, honestly, my favorite thing to do is just kind of like F-tilt 2-frame him over and over again, but that's not going to be super applicable considering the fact that he has so many times that he can up B because his up B is so good. You cannot Thunder Jolt versus Game & Watch because he has Bucket. So it's just a lot of what Pikachu normally wants to do, and obviously you can't like back air or nair or like be aggressive with aerials because of the fact that he has up B, add a shield. So a lot of what Pikachu normally wants to do isn't going to be applicable in this matchup. However, down tilt is still really good in my opinion. I think that down tilt and just Pikachu's speed in general is really a saving grace in this matchup, and it is what I feel like if optimized, maybe this matchup is even. But like it's so hard to just play correctly all the time because things like dash attack for Game Watch exist. He's really difficult to react to because of his ambiguous animations. He has things like down smash outranging down tilt, so if you're at 55 you can't really down tilt because you'll just die for it, which is not exactly a good thing. So honestly, it's just kind of hard to just keep up with Game Watch, and if you're wrong a single time you're losing, and now suddenly it spirals out of your control. Maybe if I get more experience in this matchup I can maybe disagree with what I'm currently saying, but I do think this is one of Pikachu's more difficult, if not his most difficult matchup in the entire game. Ness! Ness. I hate this character. That matchup sucks. I don't like it. But also, it's not as bad as Game Watch in my opinion, so it's probably 45-55. Pikachu can still edgeguard Ness, but it's fairly difficult because if you are wrong, you die at like 35. Which isn't fun. Obviously he has Magnet, which nullifies T-Jolt. He has amazing aerials. His air-to-airs are really good in terms of nair and up air. Magnet makes it somewhat difficult to juggle, but at the same time, if you're ready for the magnets and you still punish them and you edgeguard him correctly and are ready for his air dodges to ledge with forward tilts or down airs, it can be fairly difficult for Ness to play the game, but in my opinion, it is so much more difficult for Pikachu to play correctly versus Ness than vice versa. But this is just 45-55. I think that Ness has a lot of good things against Pikachu. He has down smash against the ledge, where you have to like up B to the ledge and then SDI down, which is really difficult because if you ever start inputting down too early, you'll just quick attack down and then die, which isn't exactly fun, so that's not good. So there's a lot of little skill checks that Pikachu has, but if he's wrong, he dies for it, and that happens a lot. So in my opinion, so many fears and risks of dying mean that this matchup is going to be in Ness's favor, at least a little bit. Like, I personally, it's my least favorite matchup, but that doesn't mean it's my worst matchup, if that makes sense. Pac-Man, in my opinion, is definitely an even matchup. Pac-Man's defense is super strong, but at the same time, Pikachu's advantage state, if you are ready for things like Hydrant, make it really difficult for Pac-Man to land. The kill differential of this matchup is definitely slightly in Pac-Man's favor because forward smash is ridiculously strong and Bell is just hard to avoid in general. There's a lot of good edge traps that Pac-Man has with like extended hitboxes and things like that, which make it fairly difficult for Pikachu to get back on ledge. But at the same time, Thunder Jolt is really good. Pikachu edgeguarding this character is really good. If you see him side B and you were able to snipe it with Thunder Jolt, Pac-Man just kind of dies, which is a big deal. Like, this character is really hard to deal with, but at the same time, Pikachu's really hard to deal with. It's basically whoever gets the first stock lead can run away with the game, and I feel like both characters are equally good at getting the first stock because Pikachu's damage output is ridiculous. His edge guarding is really good. Edge trapping in general, especially against Pac-Man, is fairly strong. So it's difficult for Pac-Man to kind of get around what he wants to do, but if Pac-Man has the momentum, it is hard for Pikachu to get in. You know, Pac-Man can obviously guess right on a lot of things with like short hop fairs and just like throwing projectiles and things like that. So I don't know, very dynamic matchup. It's one of my favorite matchups to play, even if I do lose to T every time I play him. But also, T's a god, and I don't understand the Pac-Man matchup like at all. So I do think it's definitely even. I think after the 7.0 nerfs that Palutena is now 60-40. I would normally put it in 55-45, but basically the problems that Palutena has got accentuated in this patch, which is the fact that if Pikachu plays safe, it is very hard for Palutena to get kills, and now with the fact that down throw back air no longer works and nair no longer will kill as early, it really makes Palutena rely on things like down tilt back air, which isn't a true combo because Pikachu can like angle himself towards the stage with quick attack and then DI away, so that down tilt will not combo into anything, or up smash 2 frames, which are a little bit easier, but like it is fairly difficult for Palu to get kills in this matchup. He has to rely, or she has to rely on random back airs or back throws or up airs and things like that, which is basically catching Pika off guard in situations where Pikachu should be ready for them, which isn't going to be good because Pikachu can get kills from edge trapping with forward air at 125, nair down smash at like 100 at the ledge. You have like as good of a kill throw in my opinion overall with up throw compared to back throw. It's just not that easy. Like again, I know I said this the last matchup chart I'm pretty sure that I made, but like when I play Naro or Gen or the other top Palus and I'm winning, I'm just like, damn, Pikachu has so many options in this matchup. It is so easy for me to do what I want. But when Palutena or like Naro or Gen is doing well versus me, I'm like, wow, they're outplaying the hell out of me, which just really shows that Pikachu just has so many good options in this matchup, especially when you come into like thinking about like parrying forward airs and parrying backers and getting punishes off of them. Like that really goes a long way, and I don't even do it that much in the matchup because Pikachu doesn't need to. I think the matchup is definitely one of Palutena's worst, if not her absolute worst, especially now in the 7.0 patch. So if you're having trouble with Palutena, Pikachu is definitely your pick. Peach, I think, is an even matchup. Again, I don't know this matchup particularly well. I have very little experience in this matchup, but passive Pikachu does a really, really good job versus Peach because Peach, again, the one thing that Peach struggles with the most is slow characters that also have burst options to punish turnip pulls, and Pikachu has that because you can throw Thunder Jolts and throw Thunder Jolts and throw Thunder Jolts, and then they pluck turnip and you quick attack them or you dash attack them, which can be a really big deal. Pikachu has really good out of shield options as well, the potential to edge guard and especially edge trap Peach. So playing defensive is just like really, really good versus Peach, but again, the damage output of this character, the edge trapping that this character has, like honestly is one of the hardest characters to get off of the ledge against is Peach as Pikachu, which is saying something because Pikachu's edge trapping or like getting off the ledge is really, really easy for Pika, but it is not. But granted, like I'm not passive enough to play this character. I don't notice a lot of the little nuances of this matchup because of my very much so lack of experience due to the fact that like I don't really play a lot of Peaches and they won't really play me in friendlies. But like I feel like Pikachu can win the matchup, it's just I don't know it enough, so I'm going to put it at even. Also, the Peaches are starting to say that Pikachu wins, which I don't necessarily agree with. I can see it, but I don't agree with it for now. Pichu is definitely in Pikachu's favor very slightly. It's funny that I say definitely very slightly, but again, like Pikachu's damage output is on par with Pichu's, but again, the kill differential of this matchup is going to be hugely in Pikachu's favor. Up throw kills Pichu with no rage at like 125 on most stages. Nair down smash is going to kill incredibly early. Dash attack, forward air, so many things are going to kill Pichu early, whereas basically you have to avoid forward smash, 2 frames, and back air in order to not die super early against Pichu, and obviously like mix up with up throw thunder. Granted, that is always technically guaranteed, but it is very difficult to do as Pichu, and Pikachu doesn't need it. Another thing to keep in mind is the fact that Pikachu can play passive basically the whole time, because if Pichu wants to match Pikachu's Thunder Jolt spamming, he will deal himself extra damage, and that will honestly, again, give Pikachu a little bit more of a lead. Again, a lot of the times when I'm playing against Pichu, I will opt kind of the opposite of Mario to hit Pichu off stage to force him to use Agility or Skull Bash or things like that to give himself more percent and then kind of try to edge trap game there. But again, those little percents, that 0.4, that 0.8, that 1.1, add up a lot, and it makes a difference over the course of the game. So I do think that because of the self-damage and because of the kill differential, Pikachu definitely wins this matchup. Pit, I'm going to put in 6-4. Honestly, this matchup isn't super bad for Pit because he's just a really strong fundamental character, and he has a lot of good whiff punishes and air-to-airs against Pikachu, but again, a little too honest to really keep up with Pikachu. Pikachu has better damage, can edgeguard Pit, although it's not as easy as you would think it is. But again, the neutral's fairly tricky because he has multiple reflectors. He has the ability to kind of like eat T-Jolts with Nair and then hit Pikachu for it. He has the ability to dash back, which he has an amazing dash back. So like dash back, and forward, or not forward smash, dash attack, and things like that. Keep Pikachu in disadvantage. Arrow can be fairly good, but it's just like, it's not enough. Like Pikachu can still like over the course of a game just overwhelm Pit, and over the course of a set especially get an edge guard or two, get some extra damage that you're not expecting, and it might be 65-35, but I think Pit's a little too solid for that to be the case, but I do think Pikachu solidly wins it. Piranha Plant. I think this matchup is fairly easy for Pika. I think that Pikachu overwhelms, edge guards, combos. It basically does everything he wants to do to a character. It's not super bad to the point where it's 7-3 or worse, but I do think this matchup is very easy for Pikachu, like not really difficult. You just have to watch out for Patui and like running into random super armor downbeats, but that's not that difficult if you're paying attention and being like careful as you should be in every matchup. Like I do think Pikachu can't really be like reckless against a lot of characters except for the characters below. Like in 7-3s and 90-10s, I think you can just kind of run at those characters. But Plant is not one of those. So if you're paying attention, not running into Patuis, you just start like overwhelming this character, and just it's really hard for Plant to really do anything or like keep up. So next up, I'm going to put Pokemon Trainer. I do think that Pikachu, I don't know, it might be 55-45, it might be 6-4. This might be my bias because I'm not personally good versus Pokemon Trainer. I've consistently struggled versus this character. But I do think that Pikachu beats every single Pokemon. I think the easiest Pokemon for Pikachu to deal with is Ivysaur. Razor Leaf is not really a threat because you can kind of jump over it and Thunder Jolt and get your pressure, or just jump over it and Quick Attack for a true punish depending on the distance. You can Edge Guard the Tether, you can Edge Trap this character. Squirtle is also fairly easy. I have to remember that Nair lingers, like Short Hop Nair lingers the entire time, because it can be T-Jolt, but if they do that, then you can just kind of parry it and then get punishes off of it. Charizard is really hard to close stocks against, but at the same time, if you're just playing passive and using Thunder Jolt and kind of running around and being obnoxious, Charizard can't really get a lot started. If you're just not trying to force it, the big thing in this matchup is not trying to force it against any of the Pokemon, because you will get blown up for it. But again, Pikachu's damage output is better than Squirtle's if you're playing the combo game. Pikachu's mobility is better than Squirtle's. Pikachu's recovery and edge guarding is better than Squirtle's. Pikachu's random kill factor is maybe slightly worse than Ivysaur's, but again, if you have good DI, like Pikachu can definitely survive Ivysaur stuff for a long time, and you maybe get like down throw up B, but if you DI in and then down and in for the up B, like you're gonna live probably at the ledge at like 70 or something like that. I don't exactly know, and that's considering no rage. But it's just like not super difficult. Again, I do think that Pikachu has the easiest time with Ivysaur because of the structured game plan of that character. And then Charizard, again, kind of difficult to deal with. Not that easy to edge guard because of the super armor, because I don't exactly understand it. But again, edge trapping this character is incredibly easy. Juggling this character is really easy unless they want to switch to Squirtle, which again is sacrificing a lot of kind of survivability, which is a big deal. So I do think that Pikachu definitely wins this matchup. I don't understand it as much. A lot of the Pokemon trainers say it is that this Pokemon trainer's like worst matchup, but I don't understand it well enough to kind of corroborate that. So I will put it here. Ridley's low-key kind of hard. Ridley has a lot of stuff that is really good versus Pikachu, between fireballs near the ledge, forward tilt the ledge, forward smashing the ledge, just like the whiff punishing that this character can do with dash back into forward tilt or dash back into Nair. It's not actually that easy. I've actually struggled a decent amount versus Ridley, such as Plups or Overlades from Tampa. This matchup is not that easy. Granted, when Pikachu gets the hit, like gets like the Nair at 0 or like the grab or the back air at 0, this character goes for a ride, which is not fun, and is definitely the reason why Pikachu wins, because honestly, the kill differential is definitely in Ridley's favor. It is not that easy to edgeguard this character either, just due to the fact that Uppy is really hard to mess with, other than like T-Jolt and Thunder, which you don't really want to do. It's hard to edgeguard this character, especially after the buff to Ridley's Uppy. So I don't know, like, it's pretty hard. I could see it in 6-4 Pika's favor, but it's definitely not one of the easier matchups for Pikachu. Probably the hardest heavy to deal with. Oh, Rob. This character definitely struggles. I think Pikachu's combo game, Pikachu's ability to deal with Nair, Pikachu's really easy item catching, in my opinion, are all very important in this matchup. And of course, the icing on the cake, which is the important part of the cake, by the way, is going to be Pikachu's edge guarding. Back air, drag down Nair, forward air, and most specifically Thunder covers so much area that Rob wants to be in, to the point where Rob basically cannot recover. Did you see me versus Rafiax at Glitch? Have you seen me versus Ava Man? Have you seen me play any single Rob? Have you seen the Robs all complain about this matchup? There is valid reason for it. This matchup might be 70-30, but Rob is a bit too good of a character, in my opinion. There's a little bit too much mix, and like down throw being really good, and the ability to down air, Pikachu's 2-frame or edge grabbing in general is going to be fairly strong. But I do feel like basically Rob struggles in every single just aspect of this matchup. Pikachu juggles Rob, Pikachu does so much damage to Rob, Pikachu edge guards this character, Pikachu kills this character, because like it's just so hard. And like the only set I've ever lost in this matchup, I've lost two. I think I lost to Ape Man once in Winners Finals of a Versus, and then I like 6-1'd him in Grands. And then also I lost to Waddy at Big House, but I misinputted a lot versus Waddy, and he also played out of his mind. Like, he played way better than me in that set, which is like super valid. But like overall, I feel like if you're just playing this matchup well, it is very difficult for Pikachu to lose the set. Robin. This matchup's free as hell. This matchup is super easy for Pika. Thunder Jolt back air just wins the matchup. You have had me defeat Jewel and every other Robin I've ever played. You have had DM. DM played Jewel like in double 2-stocked him or something like it. Let's Make Big Moves. And DM, obviously, like, I would honestly consider Jewel a better player. DM, obviously up and coming, one of the best, if not the second best Pikachu. But that matchup just sucks. Like, Jewel is a really good player, and DM was able to dismantle him super handily when they played. I just think if you play a normal game for Pika and you like respect like Thoron and Arcfire when you're supposed to, this matchup just kind of sucks. You don't jump at Robin, you play a ground game, you quick attack to punish, you know, arc fires, you crouch under thunders. There are so many tools that Pikachu has in this matchup. If you play passive, Robin can't do anything. If you can play super aggressive, Pikachu can't really, or rather Robin can't really do anything. It is just really, really hard. It is really hard for Robin to do anything in this matchup. Losing checkmate was huge, because if you just play passive and don't get hit by arc fire at the ledge, you basically win every game. Rosa I'm going to put at 60-40. This might be 65-35. I don't have enough experience in it to really call it. But Pikachu does really, really well at separating Rosa, Lina, and Luma, or just killing Luma in general. Pikachu does a really good job at edge guarding Rosa. Pikachu does a really good job at kind of like forcing Rosa to play the game that Pikachu wants, because Thunderjolt is so good in this matchup. If they use down B gravitational pull, Pikachu gets a punish with quick attack for the most part. You just try it, and even if you get hit by the Thunderjolt that's being absorbed, it's totally fine. Pikachu does so much damage against Rosa. The combos that Rosa has don't really work, because Pikachu has Jump Thunderjolt as like a really good approach option. If Rosa kind of separates with like the Lunar, or not Lunar Line, like attack canceling, and kind of like puts Rosa and then Luma like separated, Pikachu just kind of jumps and Thunderjolts, Luma can't hit you, and then you kind of like get in on pressure against Rosa and then just start everything. If you hit Rosa, you just dash back and dash attack Luma, and then Luma just dies. So it is very difficult for Rosa to get anything started. Again, this might be 65-35, but again, the shield buffs kind of matter because Luma's not going to get hit as often anymore. So I kind of want to like hold my tongue on this, but it could be 65-35 for sure. Roy, in my opinion, is somewhere between 55-45 and 6-4, but given the nature of this matchup here, I'm going to put it in 6-4. I don't exactly know how to edgeguard Roy as efficiently as I should, but if I do, this matchup's really hard. Roy has a really hard time dealing with short. Thunderjolt is amazing. He basically has to run to platforms, and if you are able to edge trap this character, sometimes you don't even have to commit to try to edgeguard this character, because Roy getting off the ledge against Pika is so difficult for him, to the point where Pikachu's going to get a lot of early stocks because of it. However, speaking of early stocks, Pika can die to like jab side B at like 40 or something. It is really, really early. Jab back is going to kill really early. The kill differential overall is definitely in Roy's favor, but the damage output and the safety of said combo starters for the damage output is definitely going to be in Pikachu's favor. So in my opinion, Pikachu just kind of wins fairly solid. Again, this could be 55-45. I won't doubt it, but again, I'm saying like in theory if I knew how to edgeguard better, because I'm missing a lot of edgeguards right now on Roy. I played Goblin in a couple sets the other day, but it's not as easy as you would expect it to be. So I'm going to put it at 45-50, or rather at 6-4. But if I really can't edgeguard him, I would understand it being 55-45. But again, I am assuming that I understand how to edgeguard. However, Chrom, in my opinion, is a little bit more difficult for Pika, because again, the entire sword is going to matter. Granted, edgeguarding is a bit easier, as I mentioned, like against Roy. It's like, oh well, I mean, you know, I should be able to edgeguard him, but I don't know how, something. Chrom is obviously easier to edgeguard, but again, the consistency of this character is going to be key, and the amount of damage that Chrom's up B does out of shield is going to be huge. Again, because Chrom crouches when he does up B, you can up B in the middle of a short hop rising back air, which means that back air is not an effective pressure tool against Chrom, which is a big deal, because also his up B does like 26 or something like that, a ridiculous amount. Granted, Roy's does like 19, so it's still a lot, but Chrom, in my opinion, does a little bit better in the matchup. Because of the fact that I can't use back air, that's going to be my main, like, you know, hit people off stage kind of move, which isn't going to be as useful, which means that's going to be less likely that you get Chrom in the situations where you can edgeguard him and kill him. So, I don't know, it's kind of hard, and also, again, all the good things that I said about Roy, other than jab side B, basically still apply, but also the combos are a bit more consistent. I don't have to worry, like, you know, I have to worry about his spacing and his speed, as well as as opposed to just his speed and being close to him, because Pikachu can play the spacing game against Roy, but he cannot versus Chrom, because you will still die. Ryu. I do think that Ryu does slightly better than Ken, and I haven't played a Ryu since the buffs, but I will still assume that Pikachu wins and is one of Ryu's worst matchups, so I'm going to put him in 6-4. Again, the advantage state of Pikachu, the ability for Pikachu to just run away basically the entire time. I know that Ryu obviously got the Tatsu buff where things will go through projectiles more, but again, because Thunderjolt skips around and kind of like goes above in like an arc shape, a lot of the times Thunderjolt can still hit Ryu on his head, or just in general, like, it's just because he Tatsus, it's like, okay, well, Pikachu shields and then hits him off stage. The edge guarding of this character is absolutely huge. The just general combo game and advantage state that Pikachu has on the Shotos is really, really important. Like, I don't know, I don't feel like the buffs of this character really changed much. I don't know if I can still SDI out of down tilt Tatsu, which is obviously a big deal, which is one of the reasons why I feel like Ryu does better in the matchup as opposed to Ken. Like, I haven't really struggled with Ken's, although I have struggled a bit more with Ryu's, but I do think this matchup is still very tough for Ryu, and I will put Ken here as well. But again, like, when I order the tier, like the order of the tiers, Ryu will probably be in the harder 6-4s and Ken will be on the easier ones. Because again, same thing. Thunder Jolts are really good versus character. Edge Guarding's really good versus his character. You can SDI out of a lot of stuff. Like when Ken hits you with a Tatsu, like down tilt Tatsu, you literally SDI up and then nair him for it and then get a combo, which is crazy. I've got kills with that. It is super difficult for him to kind of just like get his landing. Both these characters have trouble dealing with T-Jolt. It is basically how patient can the Pikachu be, and if the answer is very patient, this matchup sucks. Samus, honestly, I wish it was an easier matchup, but in my opinion, it is 55-45. I do feel like Samus has a lot of tools. Like, you can't really Thunder Jolt in this matchup because of Charge Shot being so good and gaining percent so quickly, so it just eats Thunder Jolt very, very easily. The main thing of this matchup, the only reason why it is Pikachu's favor and not even, is because if Pikachu just commits to edge trapping this character and juggling this character and keeping this character corralled at an edge, it is very difficult for Samus to get out, because Samus doesn't really have a lot of good burst options versus Pikachu, especially when Pika is spacing down tilts and forward airs, so you cannot up B. It is really difficult for Samus to get off the ledge. It is really difficult for Samus to land. If you are okay as Pikachu with committing to an up air, getting hit by the bomb that they're inevitably going to drop, and it's just hard to keep him like this. Like, for sure, it is hard for Pikachu to juggle Samus this way. Like, it's really difficult. She is so good at landing if you are not super patient. And again, Pikachu's arrows aren't quite big enough to just kind of like, ha-ha, swing at them like a sword character, which are the characters that Samus tends to struggle with more, or characters like Fox, which just kind of like jump up there super quickly. But I do think that Pikachu does win this matchup, with the edge trapping and the juggling being key. If you are not good at juggling and edge trapping, I understand if you have trouble with this character, because Samus is definitely a skill check type of character. Sheik, even with the buffs, still definitely loses to Pika. It is still probably somewhere between 6-4 and 65-35. I had it in 65-35 earlier, but again, these buffs are fairly influential because Needles are going to be a much better kill confirm, which is going to allow Sheik to have a much better air to ground arsenal against Pikachu, which is huge because that's honestly, like as I mentioned before, it's really easy for Pikachu to get a lot of parry timings and things like that, but Needles are going to disallow that, which is really, really important. However, Pikachu's damage output is still better than this character. Pikachu's kill potential is still better than this character. Pikachu's disadvantage state is much better. So Pikachu, when you get Sheik into a bad position, is going to do a lot more damage overall than vice versa. I do think it is fairly easy for Pikachu to edge guard and edge trap this character, especially because of how good Pikachu's 2-frame options are with forward tilt, down air, back air, things like that. But it's just, this character is still very unexplored, obviously, but again, I do feel like Pikachu's just like basically the better version of Sheik, and obviously they're not exactly the same, but Thunder Jolt is going to lead to a bunch of aggression, similar to how Needles does. Pikachu has much better combo starters that do much more damage and are also probably safer and easier to use on shield, so I do think that Pikachu just kind of wins this matchup fairly solid. Shulk is going to be next on this list, and I have always said that I think Pikachu beats Shulk because mostly Thunder Jolt, the ability to run away from the scary arts, and the fact that Pikachu can edge guard Shulk. I know that there's a big deal with like the landing lag canceling of the art switching, which can be a pretty big deal, but in this matchup I basically assume I can't get Nair loops anyway, or a lot of Nair drag down combos in the first place, so I don't really think that is that big of a deal in my opinion. Again, Pikachu, if you catch the Shulk out of shield art, you still get your normal combos unless they switch to smash art, in which case you're not scared of dying at 40, which is totally a fine trade-off for me. I do think you can get some fairly early edge guards against Shulk because you can down air Shulk's up B, you can back air it, especially if they don't have a jump, can be fairly difficult. If they have jump art, then you obviously know they're going to jump, in which case you can like Thunder or 50-50 when they're going to air dodge basically, and you can get early kills that way as well. Obviously, Shulk, an amazing character. I'm one of those people that think Shulk is broken. I think Shulk is easily top 5 characters in this entire game, but Pikachu just has the tools, has the defense, has the safe offense that is going to allow Pikachu to slightly win this matchup. The frame data is too bad for Shulk. Forward air is going to be safe on shield 100% of the time if you don't mess it up, which is a big deal because Shulk, obviously his big flaw is the lack of out of shield frame data, but like at the same time, for the most part it doesn't matter, but Pikachu, because of Thunder Jolt, makes it matter. So that is basically the main reason. Like Thunder Jolt, the ability to edge guard, and the ability to play passive are the 3 reasons why I think Pikachu wins this matchup, at least slightly. The Belmonts. This matchup sucks. Pikachu just kind of hits the Belmonts for like whatever he wants to do, and they die. And as long as you don't get edge trapped, by like fire and axe, like you're gonna be fine. And if that's the case, you just kind of like back off the ledge and SDI down, and you're not gonna get hit by forward smash. Like this matchup just sucks. Like you literally just Pikachu the Belmonts and they just lose. Snake. I think Snake is also an even matchup. Honestly, the more I think about it, the more I feel like it is Pikachu's favor. Like I think Snake is Pikachu's easiest even matchup. But again, the ability for Snake to get a bunch of kill confirms with down throw F tilt, down throw up tilt, just his kill potential in general is very scary. But again, a big thing in this matchup, the reason why I might think it's Pikachu's favor, is basically everything that Snake does is punishable out of shield. Forward tilt, you can back air in between the two hits or nair in between the two hits. Up tilt, you can do drop shield F tilt or quick attack or back air or up tilt. Basically, the only move that Pikachu can't punish on shield is going to be down tilt, which then allows you to, you still get like jump Thunder Jolt after that, and then force yourself to get pressure and then like landing nair out of range of the down air, which he's going to down air out of shield, then you hit him for it. Grenades are obviously a pain in the ass, but you know, me being really, really good versus Snake in general, I don't find them particularly difficult, because you can always just like run away from them and kind of shoot a Thunder Jolt from far away to kind of nullify the second grenade and then run in and get like your space again. So I don't know, like this matchup is like a really like ebb and flow type of matchup, but I feel like when Pika gets the hits, Snake really hurts because Pika is so good at juggling, Pikachu is so good at edge guarding. If you mess up a single time, you will get spiked. If you have to air dodge in a particular way, Pikachu can just kind of F tilt you, and then if you do like an F tilt at like 40%, it sends them high enough where they can't really do a low recovery because Pikachu has enough time to jump and then like kill them for it. But if they do an immediate up, you still jump and kill them for it. So Pikachu has a lot of areas, especially as I've been using F tilt more, that are really, really good in the matchup. So Pikachu might win, but also I'm still completely comfortable putting it at 50, or rather at 50-50, just because the kill differential of this matchup, if you're not getting really early edge guards, is like really bad. Sonic. So I don't actually understand this matchup super well, but I'm going to put it in 6-4 because a lot of the Sonic players I've talked to, like everywhere, basically like, yeah, Pikachu Sonic's worst matchup, so I'm going to put it at 6-4 because everyone putting matchups at 55-45 is probably just them being like, it's ultimate, therefore no matchups are bad, but this matchup can still be bad. The edge guarding of Pikachu can be really intense. Thunder Jolts are really, really good in this matchup if you understand how, what's neutral be called? Homing attack works. You can really just like get a lot of big punches on him. You can ping or down air, you know, spin charge and spin dash. You can just play a passive game. You know, the things you have to obviously look out for are like edge trapping with back air and two framing with forward smash. But again, Pikachu has such a varied timing on when he wants to like recover that it's really hard for Sonic to get forward smashes, whereas like Pikachu can kind of react to spring a little bit easier with like forward tilts or downers, like grab ledge and then like drop down nair, and they're gonna up B and you thunder them or something like that. Like that can happen. I definitely think Pikachu wins. I wouldn't say it's like a terrible matchup, but I do think Pikachu wins pretty solidly. If y'all wanted to argue that it was 55-45 instead, I wouldn't necessarily argue, but it's just my gut feeling. Terry, unfortunately, gets brick-walled by Pikachu very, very heavily. I do think that Terry is actually easier than the Shotos, so I'm going to put it at 65-35. I do think that Pikachu, because there's a lack of focus on Terry, like, Terry gets juggled mad hard. Like, up air just wins. Like, up air is so good. You have to use a special to get at a disadvantage. But if you use a special to get at a disadvantage, Pikachu can probably just quick attack with punish you. Quick attack with punishing this character is so good. Granted, I haven't really played a ton of good Terrys, especially like after the first like week or two of the character being out, so I could totally be wrong, and that is totally valid, and I know it won't necessarily, like, I'm not going to argue, oh, it's actually 65-35, not 6-4, but like, this matchup sucks. Like, edge guarding is super easy, disadvantage is really easy, like, combos are super easy against this character, leading to offstage. I don't know how the character's supposed to get offstage. Like, this character barely lives over 100% and lives to tell the tale, so you're not going to get Buster Wolf, you're not going to get Power Geysered. So, like, it's just really, really hard, and, like, it's hard for Terry to play the up-close game because there's always going to be a Thunder Jolt there, and you just kill him for it, like, all the time. Toon Link is one of those characters that I'm not 100% sure if it's 55-45 or 6-4, but Pikachu definitely wins the matchup. Again, like, Toon Link can kind of keep up with Pikachu, but if Pikachu ever gets like an early kill or a really good combo, it's going to be really difficult for Toon Link to kind of come back and make that comeback. Like, it's pretty difficult for him to kind of re-find his footing once he's losing the lead, because a passive Pikachu against a projectile character is super strong, because just like shooting Thunder Jolts, if they ever overcommit to try to like throw a projectile, you just kind of run under them and start up-airing them and juggling them, and it is really, really difficult for a lot of characters to deal with, and Toon Link is definitely one of them. I could definitely see it being 6-4, but I feel like just I've been someone that like rates Toon Link very highly, especially after the buffs, you know, Dash Attack being better, Zair being better. Zair being better is going to be huge because it can hit T-Jolt and still hit Pika, which is like pretty big deal, because you now have a slightly better option to deal with Thunder Jolt, although obviously it can be parried or shielded or whatever. Like, there's so many still options for Pikachu, but I do think that that kind of alleviates a lot of the pressure that Toon Link had to deal with Thunder Jolt. You had to shield it, you had to throw a bomb at it, and now you can just kind of zare it, which is pretty nice. Villager is also really bad. I do think it is slightly easier, or rather slightly harder than Isabel just because of Bowling Ball, but I do think like Isabel's going to be on like the lower end of the 65-35s and Villager's going to be on the upper and like the harder end of 65-35s. Again, the edge guarding of this character is incredibly intense. You know, Pikachu can play completely grounded and be fine with it, so short hop forward airs and back airs aren't going to matter. The add a shield options for Pikachu are really strong. The damage output is so much better. Literally, if you just like avoid Bowling Ball, you're gonna be fine. Like Bowling Ball's really scary and can swing a match heavily, but like if they have Tree, you just kind of camp and wait it out, and then if they're gonna Bowling Ball, you just kind of recover high and you don't get hit by it, and even if you're gonna take a nair or a back air or something, you're not dying to it, which is important. Again, the edge guarding of this character is a huge deal, because like a big thing changing between like Smash 4, which was like a slightly Pikachu favor or an even matchup, is the fact that back air obviously always sends backwards, so you get a lot more just like consistent edge guarding. But yeah, like the ability for Pikachu to back air and down air Villager is now going to make those like kind of 50-50, or like you have to rinse and repeat these edge guards and like make sure you don't wall, you know, like hit them against the wall. Is going to be really easy because back air is just going to always hit Villager off stage if you're correct, and then down air can obviously spike, you know, if it's a bit easier. And also like short hop or like double jump down air for some reason is really good at popping both balloons, which is a big deal. So again, if you just like don't like hit Villager, like if you do the correct moves against Villager and you avoid Bowling Ball, you should definitely win like basically every game. So Wario is a matchup that I would like to put in 6-4, but Waft exists, so I'm going to put it at 55-45. Pikachu's hitboxes are really good versus Wario. The edge guarding can be really strong versus Wario. Just generally, like, you're going to be doing more damage to Wario than vice versa. It is very hard for Wario to get landing up air, which is a huge deal. You know, up tilts and up airs are going to be very difficult to land against Pikachu in general if you're playing passive enough, but not necessarily passive enough, but just like safe enough to not get hit by the random drift in aerials. Nair also drops a lot, like Nair 1 into Nair 2 does not hit Pikachu very often, so this matchup for Wario is going to be key. Obviously landing wafts, which is always key, and then doing things like down airing his up B, like grabbing the ledge and then like double jump down air, because that's really, really good. But at the same time, Pikachu can like Thunder Bike and then also like down air his up B, although it's a little bit more difficult because Wario's up B is like mad disjointed for no reason. But I do think Pikachu's edge guarding and edge trapping is very strong in this matchup. He doesn't really have a good option against Thunder Jolt other than like jump on a platform and then like fish for back air. But again, because of Pikachu's amazing add a shield aerials, it's fairly difficult to do a lot of landing aerials on him, especially considering, again, up air is difficult due to Pikachu's size. So overall, I think just Pikachu does really, really well versus Wario. Like, no contest. Like, I think this is one of Wario's harder matchups, which is crazy because it's 55-45. I could see 6-4, but again, Waft is such a strong factor that I'm going to put it at 55-45. Wii Fit Trainer. This matchup sucks. This matchup it's somewhere between 65 and 7-3. Like, this is obviously Wii Fit's worst matchup. I'm short, I can edge guard, I can avoid a lot of stuff, I can run away from deep breathing. It is really, really difficult for Wii Fit to kind of get in, and it's hard to keep Pikachu out, and it's hard to get back on stage, and if Pikachu just avoids deep breathing, like, Wii Fit can't really kill, can't really edge guard. There's just a lot of what Wii Fit wants to do just doesn't work. Like, you can't ledge camp as Wii Fit against Pika, it just doesn't work. So, like, it's hard. This matchup's really, really hard. 7-3 or 65-35, but I'm going to put it in 7-3 because every single Wii Fit's like, this is the worst matchup, it's 6-4, and that's bullshit, so I'm putting it at 7-3. Wolf is, in my opinion, an easier spacey than Fox, but also harder than Falco for sure. Granted, I put Falco in 65-35, so I'm going to put Wolf at 6-4. I do think that Pikachu has a ton of tools versus Wolf, as long as you don't back air as Pika, because again, similar to Chrome's up B, Wolf can up smash a lot of what Pikachu wants to do in terms of back air, but again, the safety, the ability to T-jolt and down tilt and forward air is going to be really difficult for Wolf. The edge guarding of Pikachu is incredible versus this character, super hard for Wolf to deal with. So I think that, honestly, Pikachu is one of Wolf's hardest matchups, and again, Wolf is an amazing character, so it makes sense that his hardest matchup is 6-4, but like, it's not looking good for him, in my opinion. I've had a lot of success versus a lot of the Wolf players. If you're just like patient and you avoid his kill moves and you kind of like are patient off the ledge, it's really hard for Wolf to do like basically anything, except for like hard read you or get like landing nair, and if you're trying to challenge it for some reason. But again, because of Pikachu's ability to parry a lot of things, you can parry landing nair and get punishes off of it. which just makes the matchup a whole lot harder. Like, Pikachu being so good at parrying because of his height is honestly what puts him above the edge, because so many characters have a bunch of good tools, but Pikachu being short means you have to do landing arrows at a specific time, which means you can parry them. It's just hard. And Wolf is one of those characters that falls susceptible to that, in my opinion, a lot. Yoshi, I'm going to put as even. I've seen people put like Yoshi as slightly winning, but I do think that Pikachu's Thunder Jolt up air is just so strong of a kind of option. If you're really just like focused on not getting hit and you're going Thunder Jolt, dash forward, did you jump up air? Did you not jump? Kind of like run back and shoot another Thunder Jolt. Thank you, Mini Cooper, for the Twitch Prime. Like, I feel like if you do that and you kind of play that safe kind of game plan, it is very hard for like Yoshi to really get in the way he wants to and do a bunch of his damage. Also, Pikachu is fairly good at edge guarding, so you have to save your jump. Like, you have to go high, but again, if you go high and I hit you out of your jump with Thunder or forward air, suddenly you're just going to die because I can forward air your egg tosses and things like that. The aerial mobility of this character is really, really good. Again, like, I definitely could see either 45-55 or, ironically, the other way in 55-45, but I do think this matchup is solidly even. Both have a lot of tools against each other. It's hard to combo this character because of the Frame 1 Super Armor. The floatiness plus the heaviness is awkward to combo. Egg can be difficult to deal with if you're, like, running into it. It's sometimes you can get forwarded out of your 2-frame. You can get edge trapped a little bit. It's not super easy to get off the ledge versus this character. And it's just kind of hard to hit this character, but again, if you Thunder Jolt, up air, Thunder Jolt, fair, and basically that's it, it is a very hard time for Yoshi. But I feel like both characters can kind of like win the match from ahead, so I think it's even. Young Link, after the buffs, I'm still going to put at a 55-45. I think pre-buff, so like pre-7.0, Young Link would have been in the 6-4 category because just Pikachu was able to edge guard him super hard, but again, the buff of up air is going to be a huge deal. The buff of Zair, as I mentioned with Toon Link, he can now Zair, Thunder Jolts, hit me, and then get up smashes or forwarders off of them, which is a pretty big deal. So I think that Young Link does have a bit more kill confirms now, but again, Pikachu's ability to Thunder Jolt, edge guard, edge trap, you know, just like add a shield option, a lot of what Young Link wants to do other than like landing Nair, but again, you can parry if that's the case. So there's just a lot of stuff that's really good for Pikachu in this matchup. Not good enough to like destroy this character, but I do think if a Young Link has to play Pikachu, they have to like be like, okay, like how do I do this? Like, let's make sure I win. Let's play like super correctly, because if you don't, Pikachu's kind of raffle stomps Young Link. Zelda. After the buffs, I haven't played a Zelda, but I think this matchup before was 55-45. So honestly, I'm kind of inclined to put Zelda in 50-50. The ability for her to camp even stronger, get a couple hits, and then kill you way earlier. Landing Nair going to be a better option, or Nair in general, like Drift Away Nair is going to be better. Her defense got stronger, and also her offense got stronger, so it's a little bit harder for Pikachu to deal with this character, because she still has a Reflector, she still has a combo break in Nehru's Love, or Nairu's Love, however you want to pronounce it. She has obviously the scariness of, you know, down tilting your 2-frame, or down being your 2-frame, which can lead to a bunch of stuff. This character, honestly, like, I don't really know this matchup at all, besides just, like, I can top player people and kind of read what they want to do, but the one time I played a top Zelda in Ven at Prime Saga, I lost 3-1. Granted, I do think that was, like, my fault, because Captain L beat him fairly handily at Smash and Splash, but after the buffs, this just might be even. Like, it's not easy, like, at all. It might still be 55-45, but I am scared of new Zelda. I'm going to put a video about her. I do think that Zelda honestly got a ton better, so this just kind of scares me, because again, her defense is better, her offense is better, Nair drag down being better means that Uppy's going to combo a bit easier, more reliably. I've seen that like landing Nair can apparently combo into like fair. F-tilt is going to be stronger, which makes it just difficult for Pikachu to get those hits, because a lot of the time Pikachu is going to be trying to chase Zelda, and granted, he does a very good job of it, and again, Zelda getting off the edge and recovering in general and getting at a disadvantage can be fairly difficult, which is why it's even and not losing, but like, damn, it's going to be hard to catch this character. It's going to be really hard to like get your hands on Zelda, because she's so good now. And as the final character in the matchup chart, I am going to put Zero-Suit Samus in 55-45. Don't believe Mars. This matchup's not +2. It's not super terrible. Zero-Suit is very, very fast. Actually, with the nerfs, maybe it's going to be 6-4, because the nerf is going to be a big deal, because as I've mentioned with a lot of characters, edge trapping is super key for Pikachu overall. It is very, very important for Zero-Suit to like be able to get off the ledge for free, and edge trapping is a huge deal for Pikachu. So now they can actually edge trap Zero-Suit a little bit more effectively, because you're not as scared of down B, because I've died to down B at like 60% because I tried to swing, got down B for it, and died to up B. that will no longer happen, which is a big deal for fighting against Zero Suit. So Pikachu definitely wins. I could see it in 6-4. I'm actually going to put it in 6-4 probably to make Mars a little bit happier because he's my teammate. But I do think that the speed is a big deal. But again, a lot of what Mars beating me at Genesis the way he did was deadass. He was the best player in the world on that day. I've never seen anyone play Ultimate as good as he played that day. So he just outplayed the hell out of me. Like, he got it. Like, whatever, dude. He just bodied me. But that was more Mars being absolutely fantastic and a much better player than I was at the time. So I'm not going to, put that on Zero Suit Zero Suit versus Pika. And again, the nerfs are going to be a big deal considering Throw Thunder Jolt Fair is like a huge part of edge trapping against like every character, and now I'm going to be able to do that against Zero Suit, because if I'm wrong, I'm not going to lose because of it. So like, it's a pretty big deal. And also, you may notice that I had a 35-65 category here. That was just a troll. There are no 65-35s for Pikachu. So I'm going to order this right now in a way that is what I think the orders of all the tiers are. And obviously, this is like my matchup chart, and I am probably most definitely the most optimistic Pikachu in terms of his matchups. So I will go over what that is. I will show like the ease to order, like left to right, like easiest to hardest. But then after that, I will show what like a more normal Pikachu matchup chart would look like, with like the more like other Pikachus kind of weighing in. So I will go about that right now. So after organizing everything, this is my ideal matchup chart. The left is the hardest characters and the right is the easiest characters. So Mario is the hardest 50-50 and Snake is the easiest 50-50. Joker is the hardest 55-45, whereas Kirby is the easiest, and so on and so forth. I think like this is just my personal opinion of the matchups. I do think it is a fairly solid opinion. I'm not going to say that it is correct or incorrect compared to the other Pikachus, because I don't think that's fair considering other Pikachus can have totally valid opinions. I do want to really quickly kind of just show what it would look like probably as a more standard Pikachu matchup chart and not my matchup chart, because I am obviously very optimistic. I believe in my character, so I will do that real quick. I'm probably not going to reorder a lot of things, but just like move characters a little bit. So I think in a slightly more standard Pikachu matchup chart for the other Pikachus, you're going to have Mario as a slightly losing matchup and then Snake as a slightly losing matchup. I am obviously one of the best players versus Snake in the world, so I'm very biased in this matchup. I do think that Pikachu does very, very well. But literally every other Pikachu struggles with this matchup, so I can't say that in other matchup charts they would still have him as even. But, I mean, that's probably what the pessimistic kind of matchup chart looks like. Maybe some of these are back in, like, even. I'm not 100% sure. Again, I would have to ask them, and I maybe will for a different video. But, yeah, that is going to be about it. So, I hope you enjoyed this matchup chart. Let me know down in the comments below what you think, and I'll see you all next time.